Last Minute In Podcast, episode 74. Congratulations to Team Finland for winning the 2016 World Junior Hockey Championship.
Suomi Finland! Buster called it.
You know, I called it last podcast, didn't I? I said that they were going to
Probably
do
did.
that.
Yeah, no, we did make predictions.
Okay,
I
don't know if I predicted it, but I did say that Finland was a good team.
Well, Kerry Buss, from the start, very incredibly biased towards Finland, I will say. But he did call Finland going to win it on home ice.
He did.
Well, you know what?
I say they only won it because Willie Hockey wasn't in that tournament.
And
I'm just kidding. They
only
earned
other
it fair and square.
The only other thing is, did any of you guys hear the Finnish goal call when they got the golden goal by Kasperi Kapanen? Holy shit, the guy went insane.
Okay,
if you can find it, it's like a soccer call. The guy goes insane. You can tell the passion, and really great for Finland. It's great for somebody to win in their own country, other than Canada. Once again, like I said last podcast, this is not just a 4-team tournament anymore. It's a 6-team tournament. So there's lots to talk about for World Juniors.
Let us into it.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Jets. Talk about All-Star Game and some snubs. We'll talk about trades, because apparently I'm out of the loop and haven't heard anything all day.
Really?
I told him about the big one. We'll
You're
tell
in
him
for a
later.
treat.
I know. Yeah, I heard about
just
it.
told him,
Because Cam
yeah.
ruined it. Because he's the ruiner of
because
everything.
I expect you to know these things.
And then we'll finish the podcast off with some milestones and my gift to these two numbskulls, which is a complete cop-out. So, let's get started with...
If it's a joint gift, you're in trouble.
It's a joint gift. We will
better
all...
be a party-sized sub from Subway.
No, it's not.
Eat fresh. Every day.
Please sponsor us. Okay, so Canada, last time we left off, was about to play Sweden. They had just beat Switzerland in a shootout. So they were up against Sweden. We both didn't have high hopes for this game. How did the game turn out?
They lost 5-2.
And really did not look in the game at all.
Not even a little bit.
Good.
Penalty is the story of this game, and really the entire tournament for this team.
I saw a tweet. I don't know who it was from, but I totally agree with it. Dave Lowry went to the school of Paul Maurice coaching in terms of you can't. Once your team's on a roll of getting penalties, it's over.
It's
As
hard.
of late, Paul Maurice is real good at it, as in keeping them under wraps. But Dave Lowry just didn't have a hold of his team at all.
I think part of it was coaching. I think part of it was the players not... Because they set expectations for themselves. Yeah. And when you don't hit the expectations, it's frustrating. Like for me, and I'll go into a little bit of a side story here on a bit of a tangent. When I lived in Kenora and I'd come back and play hockey for our beer league teams, for whoever I was playing for, I'd get really frustrated because I wasn't as fast as I was because I got fatter. And I wasn't as quick as I used to be or have the hands because I wasn't playing hockey as much. So it was very frustrating for me.
The different ice quality.
No, it wasn't. It was very frustrating.
It wasn't you.
It was very frustrating. It was completely me. And it made me take... I got kicked out of a game because I decided to attack somebody after he tried to slew foot me. It's just not how I play hockey, but I was just so frustrated, and that frustration brews up in you. And I think that's what happened with this Team Canada team, is the fact that they want to achieve so much and they couldn't get it. And I think the frustration boiled over into a lot of penalties.
Their game doesn't translate. This team's game didn't translate to North America or international play because bigger ice. They're trying to dump and chase. You can't dump and chase on international ice. It doesn't work. But also, the refs are way, way, way harder on stick calls. Like,
and it's WJHC.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not playing in the dub right now.
No, exactly. That's
was that you that said that last week, or was that I heard it somewhere? And that's what they said. They said this is IHF. This isn't the dub anymore. You're not playing in the Q. You're not playing in the O, where it's a little bit more lenient, getting you ready for the NHL. They're a lot stricter when it comes to these tournaments. Yeah. And the thing that I don't understand, you're saying we play a dump and chase style. When you have guys that can carry the puck in.
Yeah.
Like,
all of them.
Exactly. They're all incredibly skilled.
They're all the superstars of their respective teams back home.
Yeah,
so they're capable of breaking into a zone by themselves.
So was it Dave Lowry's problem? Did he not properly
100%.
coach his team? Okay.
I blame Dave Lowry 100%. For the way that they played, yes. But in terms of stepping up, I mean, we can even move on.
No one really stepped up.
Canada, they lost to Swinland.
Swinland.
Yes.
The great Swinland.
They were so bad, they lost to countries that don't exist.
They had such a tough tournament. What would be the colors of Swinland? Yellow and white?
Blue, white, yellow,
no, because that makes
white.
No, yellow and white. Yeah, it'd have to be yellow and white.
Swinland,
I guess.
Oh my God, Finland and Sweden make the Quebec Nordiques.
What?
Have you even seen Quebec's flag? It's blue and white.
It's true.
You should know this.
Yeah, I know this.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway,
Let's continue.
Doesn't matter. I digress. because of where they finished, they had to play Finland.
Yeah.
They lost 6-5. If they played like this all tournament, they wouldn't have had to play Finland in the first round of the playoffs.
No, they would have been out.
They
They lost the game.
No, but I meant like the way they played.
I
Like
know,
they
man.
showed up, they played, and then just dumb penalties 3 times in that quarterfinal game.
Mitch Marner.
Jake Virtanen, and there was one more where Finland's getting called.
Yeah.
Getting called. They have the call. Ref's arm is up. They take a penalty to offset it. What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't throw a punch after playing double AHF. Don't do it.
How was it just me or did it seem that Jake Virtanen was loaned to Canada, but he was maybe Canada's one of the worst players?
Because all the pressure automatically got turned to him.
I understand that, but he just was not good.
I would have, even before Virtanen, I was happy when he got loaned, don't get me wrong. But I thought it was a weird move leaving, not Berlini, who was the other one?
Chychrun?
Not Chychrun, forward 19, damn it. I'm drawing blank on who he is.
Okay, I don't know who you're talking
I wish they would have taken the other guy. I really wish I had a name right now. But it was weird that they left Ho-Sang, like players like that are still available off the team.
Okay.
Over. They cut them right off the hop, even before
Del Call?
Michael Dalcol. Yes!
Yeah,
He was one of the last cuts on the New York
Yeah.
Islanders. Sure, he's not having the greatest year, but he's known for speed and finesse.
Yeah.
Well, what the hell are all the European teams? They're all speed and finesse.
Yeah.
All of them.
I'm going to come out of left field for you guys. I'm going to say they finished exactly where they belonged to finish because I don't think they were good enough to beat
No,
any of the
well,
other
of course
teams.
not. Of course not.
Like-
That's where we're at.
Penalties aside, I don't think they were talented enough to go any further than they did.
Yeah, well, they didn't pull it
I
together
think
until the last game.
This is one
and
of
they
the
even lost.
worst teams they've put in the juniors, and like at least a lot. I'd say I haven't watched it very closely for very long, but I'd say at least in the last 10 years.
I would agree with that, and I would also say this is probably the strongest pool of teams in the last 10 years.
I will agree with that too.
Because if you look at it, like, what was an 18-year streak where Canada made the semifinals? That was snapped this year, or was it 17 years?
1999.
1981 81 was the last time they got bounced in the quarters, I think.
No, it was 18 or 19
Well, 98
years.
was the
was it?
last time they lost their first opening. Yeah, it was quite a streak. Like,
Okay.
just example, fewest wins out of World Juniors. This team ranks tied for second with 2. Their worst years were 81-76. 81. They had 1 win.
Okay.
So
So
that's
it's like-
the only year worse. Okay.
1 year worse than this
But
year.
all I'm going to say is the years that they've probably have been bad, they have been playing against a lot worse opponents. This was the first year where a bad team didn't go anywhere because of the fact that a bad team doesn't beat teams like Finland, Sweden, USA. If they had to play Czech Republic, I don't think they would have beat Czech Republic.
Well, and the big main difference in all these teams is that they're teams. They
Yeah.
played like teams.
Yeah.
Which, again, as we said, we did the dump and chase. Well, maybe it's because all of them, as Canada, we say, okay, come together as a team, make sure you pass. So then everyone's like, oh, I better dump and chase and go get it instead of carry it in myself, even though I know I can, because I'll look like an individual on a team. I will play by myself on a team.
Yeah.
That's basically. So I guess they just got scared into it. So
Yeah. Biggest disappointment for Team Canada this season, or for Team Canada in this tournament, was who? Or
right off, like player-wise?
player-wise, personnel-wise?
Biggest disappointment, I'm just even going to turn before the tournament started. Mackenzie Blackwood getting that eight game suspension. That
Okay.
sent him back. Whenever Canada does good, they have an amazing goalie. Look at even the top 4 teams in this tournament. Sweden,
Your goalies.
Linus Soderstrom. America, Alex Nedeljkovic. Finland, I don't know, another superstar in the NHL in like 5 years. And then Russia, I don't know, he's probably going to whoop ass in the KHL.
Yeah.
So, like, and they just all had great goalies.
Do you
The draft for
Yeah.
Samsonov.
Yeah.
But he got hurt in the semi. He
Yeah.
didn't play in the bronze. But yes.
So you think the suspension hurt his play?
Well,
that
he
what you're
didn't have to.
saying?
He didn't play the first 2 games.
Yeah, but he played.
He would have played every game.
But he
in
played
my
the
mind.
Finland game and he let in 6 goals.
Yeah,
He
well,
wasn't that great, though.
He wasn't that great in that
True.
game either.
I think...
Fine, I'm going to say biggest letdown. It's unfair to put it on him. Jake Virtanen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the roster well enough. I'd have to agree, though. He's the most well-known player on the team, and he did not do a whole lot.
I think the entire defensive core gets it for me. I just did not think that defensive core was good at all. Hayden Fleury, Joey Hicketts, none of those guys stepped up and really performed in this tournament.
Well, like, who was the top four? Even last year, they were barely good enough last year. And they had Madison Bowie, Josh Morrissey, damn it.
Well, Shea Theodore, Joey Hicketts.
There you go. And then there was one more,
four.
like, Darnell Nurse.
Darnell Nurse,
Oh,
yeah.
my God. Like, right, and they were barely good enough to hold in. Now, this year, it's like, I'd be shocked if any of these players on Team Canada are in a prominent role in the NHL within the next 3 years.
Yeah. No,
Which
I
is
agree,
super
100%.
mean to say.
But it's true. Like, and it really is shocking that Jacob Chychrun doesn't make this team because he's a defenseman. And he's one of the best in the world.
He's still ranked in the top 10.
Yeah.
In the top, Craig Button was top 10 after the tournament. We'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
Like a list of it. Jacob Chychrun's still in the top 10. He didn't play a minute. He got cut out of camp.
Yeah.
He didn't play a minute of World Junior Hockey. And he's still good enough to make Craig Button's top 10. Which is like, well, what are you thinking then? Like, how good is this kid compared to, like, who was better than him to kick him off the team?
And you could say the same thing about Jack Ralslovic, Kyle Connor from USA. We can talk about snubs later in the podcast about the All-Star game. But it comes down to maybe they didn't want to take a 17-year-old.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there was only one draft eligible player on Team Canada, Julian Gauthier.
Yeah, and I think he's a fantastic hockey player.
Yeah,
I think he's going to look really good on a team soon.
Yeah, he stepped up big time.
The penalty thing though killed them.
Yeah, penalties killed them.
It got so bad. I was watching TSN the other day, and on the quiz, this can be a direct shot at this podcast because the question was, which team is more undisciplined, Team Canada or the Winnipeg Jets? Because they're both known for being
really undisciplined,
taking an excessive amount of penalties, and I mean that right there just.
I think the difference between Winnipeg
issue.
and Team Canada was taking timely penalties that hurt them. Winnipeg doesn't take timely penalties that hurt them; they just take a lot of penalties,
which turn out to hurt them. But it's not timely. Like they don't take.
They don't. Not in the third period of a game do they consistently take penalties that put them shorthanded.
And I don't think very rare. Not off the top of my head can I think of a time where the Jets took a penalty where the other team was already going to get one.
Yeah,
because Paul Maurice would bench him real fast.
Let's move off of the penalties and Team Canada, and let's move to what the semifinals were in this tournament. Let's start in Group A, Sweden versus Finland. What happened in that game?
Finland beat Sweden 2-1. I just want to say
one of the best games of the tournament.
Finland's last two games, I have PVR'd, and I will not soon be deleting them. They are They're arguably the best hockey games I have watched. Even Carrie and I were talking since playoff hockey last year. No. Best hockey I've watched.
And I agree with you 100%. I love the way Finland played this year, and I think I talked about that earlier last podcast. The other thing, too, that I loved about this tournament was the fact that Canada wasn't in it. If you wanted to watch this hockey, you had to watch these other teams. And they delivered. They showed us how exciting this hockey can be.
Oh, yeah,
they showed us that, you know what, Team Canada's great. Yeah, it's great to cheer for your country, but this hockey's really fucking good to watch.
Yeah. Oh, it was. That game was unbelievable, back and forth the whole game, and then.
And you know what? I think Sweden has Nylander. I think that's a different game.
Yeah. But it's a different tournament.
It is.
Nylander put up 4 assists or 3 assists in the first game, and then before he got hurt.
Yeah.
That was before he got hurt. He had 3 assists. What would he have done?
Really too bad, but.
Then again. And then you move on to the other semifinal, Group B. Russia taking on USA. Russia beat USA 2-1. Fun fact, USA is 0-7 all-time versus Russia in semifinals. They've never beat Russia in a World Junior semifinal, ever. Which is crazy.
Very interesting.
And before this game, right before this
game.
And
Igor Samsonov played really well in that game.
Yes, before he got kind of hurt, but he still finished the game. Fun fact, before this game, if you watched, your favorite coach, Ron Wilson, did you see that interview with him?
Yeah,
he's like, Mark Masters is interviewing him, or a few people are, and they're saying, what are your thoughts on the Russians? Have you done scouting? He's like, I don't know who these Russians are. I don't do any research. I don't know who these kids are. You don't know who these kids are. And like, you could tell everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you look like an idiot. And so stuff like this, when it comes out,
nothing new.
When stuff like this comes out of your mouth, do you really think, and if you want a job in the NHL, I'd take this into consideration. I mean, look how Fluffy Duffy he treated this whole tournament. He was just kind of like, let's go try this today. Like, that's how his whole attitude was about the tournament. You don't treat a tournament of this magnitude like that. It's unfair to your players that you're coaching, and it's unfair to the fans of your respective country. You're representing a country when you're over there.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of Ron Wilson. I think he's an idiot, but that's just a personal opinion. I'm sure he's.
I'm not a fan of him either. So.
But he wanted to make this tournament be sort of an audition for him to make an NHL club. I don't think he did himself any favors.
No, not even.
I think he took a very talented team to a very mediocre finish. Like USA should have won this tournament.
Well, yeah, they were touted to be, I believe, number 1.
They have them in Finland. It should have been them in Finland in the final.
Yeah.
Or them 2 in the semifinal.
And then Russia just played how Russia came out not normally like Russia. Russia played America's game and beat them at it.
But the other thing too, though, is USA never had sure they beat Canada, and that was the only thing they seemed to care about. After that, they played a very non-inspiring tournament. Once they beat Canada, they kind of just floated for the rest of the tournament.
U.S.
Yeah, that's the way I felt at least.
Well, yeah, but and also if you look at the scores 10-1 on Switzerland, that's also due to the fact that it just off skill alone. That's what the score for Canada should have been. But Canada, I don't know what the hell happened. Yeah, they didn't show up. U.S. showed up. So.
Yeah, but.
So leading into the final then.
Well, let's talk about the bronze medal first, which was USA-Sweden.
USA-Sweden.
Which could have easily been a gold medal game as well.
Yeah, U.S. won 8-3.
Walked all over
It was 2-2 leading into the second, and then someone had an inspired speech, or one of the players said, come on, we're here, we got to go home with something. Yeah. And then U.S. just patted the medal, and they didn't stop. They did not stop at all. And their stick work, that top line, they're all draft-eligible players, which is unbelievable.
Kachuk.
DeBrincat,
and Matthews.
Were just putting on a show for the ages.
And if you're a team who gets to draft any of those players, you're welcome.
Yeah.
From Team USA, because all 3 of those guys are going to be stellar players in the NHL.
Yeah, well, right. I mean,
even DeBrincat, he may be a little bit lower, but I think he's got that scoring touch and he can play really well in the NHL.
Yeah, we all have the book on DeBrincat. Mouth off to him and he'll take a penalty.
Yeah.
Signed Canada. And then we jump to the gold medal game, which is, I'm going to say it, the best gold medal game I've watched since the Jordan Eberle... No, that's the best junior game I've watched since Jordan Eberle Russia game. Since when he scored with 0.2 seconds or something, or 3 seconds left in the game, and then they won it in overtime. That is the best junior hockey game. And you know what's so much fun about it? Just because it was
crazy.
It wasn't Canada in there, so it was kind of I had carryover, so Carey was cheering Finland, and then Ivan, the future goddamn all-star program, was on Russia, so obviously I have to cheer Russia and piss Carey off.
Yeah.
So, but there was just so back and forth the whole game, it was amazing.
The other thing too is, while I was watching it, I wasn't invested in one team, which I wanted Finland.
So much fun.
I wanted Finland to win, but I'm if Russia wins, I don't care.
Same.
And you're just sitting there and you're enjoying it. You're just loving. You're just loving what you see.
You know what? It's basically when your team doesn't make playoffs or once they get eliminated, you enjoy hockey. Sure, you're more biased to one side or the other, but you appreciate the other team. Yeah. And when Finland scored, I was like, well, damn. I mean, yeah, that went in. I can't disagree with that guy.
They have a fucking really good team.
Yeah, or where the Russian defenseman slipped, and I was yelling to Karen, I fucking slow-footed him. Karen's like, he didn't touch him. And then he rips around the corner, passes it right out in front to Sebastian Aho, and just boom, goal. Woo! Or no, Patrick Laine. They score, they tie the game 2-2. So the game ended 4-3 in overtime.
Yeah.
With a goal off of future Toronto Maple Leafs star Kasperi Kapanen. One of the nicest overtime goals I've seen in quite... It wasn't just a shot. That was a skill move. Not many guys in that tournament could do that, and he thought to do that.
Yeah.
And I was real jacked. The moment I saw him, I'm like, oh, come on, shoot it! And then he went to go wrap salad, is what I call him. I'm like, oh, it's wrap. Oh, it's in. Piss. And he's going to wrap. I'm like, oh, it's in! Oh, okay, they won. That was awesome. Fun overtime fact about that. I recorded the game, and I only record an extra 15 minutes after.
You never make that mistake.
First time ever, guys.
You have to do it at least an hour.
I just got a PVR. That's what Carey said too.
Just to be
so
safe.
Lesson learned. The game ended a minute before the recording ended. I was like, oh, dude, it's going overtime. And then I hit pause. We ran to the washroom. we go to the washroom together. That's what we do, obviously.
Yeah.
And then Kira's
You guys take selfies in there too?
no, not just yet. We kiss the mirror, though. We kiss
Yeah,
the
you
mirror,
have to,
obviously.
right? Lick it a little?
Sometimes.
just play with it a little?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit. So, so weird. Anyways.
You went to the bathroom together.
Opposite. I have 2 bathrooms. Anyways, we come back and Kira's like, or no, I realize I'm like, oh my God. And Kira's like, what? I'm like, I only have like 11 minutes left in this recording. I really hope it ends. And then as overtime's getting closer and closer, I'm like, please, Scar, please. I don't want to deal with the Highland. Please, please, please. Kasperi, there. Yes! Ha ha!
You were a minute away from having the most worthless 2.5 hours.
I know!
And Leaf fans around the world rejoice because Kasperi Kapanen scored one of the players in the Phil Kessel trade. So
That's
it's full
true.
circle. And who knew that we'd be talking about Kasperi Kapanen over Willie Nylander, which is quite interesting.
Pretty awesome. Russia against Finland is 25-11-2 all time now.
Okay.
And now we can go to tournament awards real quick. Canada players of the tournament, because everyone gets them.
Because they have to have.
Yes.
They have to.
Yeah.
They have. The tournament, the team sponsor, tournament sponsor was Remington.
Yeah.
And none of these kids they're all baby faced. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's great. They need that. So Team Canada was Joe Hicketts, Dylan Strome, and Matt Barzal, which I thought they all deserved it. And then tournament MVP was Jesse Puljujarvi, 5 goals, 12 assists, 17 points. All-stars of the tournament were Linus Soderstrom, goalie, Oli Uelevi, and Zach Werenski. And then forwards, Jesse Puljujarvi, Patrick Laine, and Austin Matthews. No surprise at any of those. The only surprise was Oli Uelevi, but Carey told me that he's legit, and he's going to be in the top 15 draft this year.
And Werenski played a really good tournament. I was really surprised with him.
I stand corrected, actually. Carey mentioned Sami Niku, drafted by the Jets in this past year's draft in the 6th round.
Wow.
And he was one of the most steady Eddie defensemen in the whole tournament. So
another, who was the guy they had from Czech Republic last year?
Kostelek?
Kostelek.
Oh, yeah.
Another
yes.
Kostelek.
Yeah,
essentially.
basically, yeah. But, so calm and collected.
Okay.
But, yep, that's, that was happening.
We need to move on to NHL. Last thing before we touch on it. Next year we will get our wish again. Canada, Russia, USA, I believe, as well as Switzerland, and maybe Denmark are all in the same pool. But I know it's Canada, Russia,
I have them
and
right
USA
here.
for sure, which means USA and Canada will be the New Year's Eve game next year. And Cameron...
Of course I can't find it.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Oh, got
Okay.
it. Yeah.
What are the groups next year?
Finland, Sweden, Czech Republic, Denmark, Switzerland.
Oh, okay.
Russia, USA, Canada,
And we have
Slovak,
Latvia.
Latvia. So we're going to have USA, Canada, New Year's, and we're going to open up probably against Russia.
I would prefer
We're
if
gonna
Russia
have
was
the
our
semi.
third game. I'd rather...
Also, Russia, US?
I'd prefer. But it looks like USA, Canada going to be the New Year's Eve game, which will be awesome.
I love it.
You know what? Hey, it makes the tournament more exciting to watch when you know that it's not a walk in the park for one team.
Oh,
Yeah.
before we leave this,
Yeah.
just Canada lost to Finland 6-5. Do you want to hear 6-5 heartbreak scores real quick? 72 Summit Series in the final game. Canada wins 6-5 over USSR. 87 Canada Cup. Canada wins 6-5 over Russia. 2009 World Juniors. Canada beats Russia 6-5. 2010 World Juniors. Canada loses to America 6-5. 2012 World Juniors. Russia beats Canada 6-5. 2013 World Juniors. We lose to Russia 6-5 in the bronze. I fucking hate 6-5 as a score. It's the worst score ever.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
awesome for hockey. Let's
So,
go to the NHL.
Move on to the Jets. How did they do since the New Year's? They played Phoenix or Arizona, and then
Arizona on New Year's Eve.
they left. You know what? They left 2015 behind them. Maybe not the best end of the year with a loss to Arizona.
A game they dominated, then they took 2 very bad penalties at the end of the game and cost them 2 power play goals and they lost.
Shane Doan set the franchise record for most goals, 380.
You know what I was doing? I was sitting in BP and I was watching the TV and it's like Shane Doan with a goal tonight can set all new franchise record. I'm like, he's playing the Jets. He's gonna fucking score.
And
Oh,
guess
he
who
wants
assisted
that
it?
goal.
Guess who assisted it?
I don't know.
Mini Domi.
Oh, good for him.
Circle of life on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Pretty cool.
So that wasn't a good game. Let's just leave it at that.
And then they went to the first time they played the Sharks in new Jets 2.0 in San Jose.
Really?
No.
Interesting.
No.
That's what they said on TV.
That's
Wrong.
They would have played them last
They
year.
would have played them last year
Sure.
and the year
And-
before. They've been in
and
the
San
West for
Jose.
3 years.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was watching it.
Yeah, because that's incorrect.
First
Oh,
time
we're-
they've beaten the Sharks in San Jose, probably.
They won 4-1. Joel Armey
Yeah.
got his first NHL goal, and
Good
Blake
for him.
Wheeler hit 400 points
True.
on his career.
Good for him.
Was that?
And then next game.
They went to the Ducks and lost 4-1. Because the Ducks, that's what they do.
Penalty field game again.
Tired.
They were tired, but they took a lot of dumb penalties again.
That's what Anaheim can make you do.
Cost them the game. I mean, Anaheim's not a great team this year, and they look like a pretty good team against the Jets. So.
And then last night, they played the Preds.
The team they need to beat.
4-1 win.
They 4-1 win. Leading
into
this game, fun fact about Drew Stafford, he scored in this game, but Stafford leading into this game had 23 goals in 66 games played with the Jets, so a goal every 3 games.
Good for him.
He's got 14 goals this year, so he's on pace for 30 almost.
Not bad.
Not bad.
And
for a guy
they finally scored on the power play for the first time in God knows forever. They never score on the power play. Whenever I watch.
No.
The story of this game was Connor Hellebuck, though, because they were up 3-0 and they had 11 shots on goal.
It was...
and Nashville had about 42.
It was Connor Hellebuck versus the Nashville Predators.
It was, hey, you know what? Every team's got a... Montreal wins games like that. Washington wins games like that.
I'm very glad that
they have good goalies. So.
I'm very glad you brought up Montreal. I saw a stat today, tweeted out, and it said, Carey Price, 12 games started. This is for this season. 12 games started. 10 wins, 2 shutouts, 2.06 goals against average, .934 save percentage. Connor Hellebuck, 13 games started, 9 wins, 1 shutout, 1.93 goals against average, and .935. So same sample size.
Tweet? Can you tweet it at me so I can tweet that?
I can find it.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just did that from memory. But same sample size, less wins, obviously, but still showing you that this guy deserves to be in the NHL.
So, Andrei Pavlik is with the team right now. He's been practicing the last couple of days. What do you do when he's healthy?
You trade him.
Do you trade him, or do you
trade
him
to the Swedish Elite League, and you find the new Pavel Datsyuk.
Realistically, though, who's going to take a guy for a $4.5 million cap hit for 3 more years?
If you bite up 50% of the contract, you could send him to somewhere. What are you willing to bite up?
Do you
50?
dump him or do you dump Michael Hutchinson?
I give Hutch another chance.
Or do you see
who legitimately needs a goaltender right now and would be willing to take Pavlik or Hutchinson?
I was going to say Montreal, but they have Scrivens, so...
No. And even if they didn't have... fuck you, Montreal.
Toronto?
Tokarski and Scrivens.
No, they're happy.
Cali. Come on.
They're not going to be in the market for a goalie right now, I don't think, because they're pretty high on Sparks. They're happy with Antoine Bibeau, and then Reimer and Bernier, the guys right in the ship there. Maybe Buffalo.
Pair him up with Evander again?
The thing with
Buffalo is weak on goal. I'm trying to think of who else.
Well,
do you think Carolina would dabble? They'd have to get rid of one of their guys. But
Carolina's an interesting one because they could probably fish a prospect out of there. Maybe Cab's favorite defensive prospect.
Fucking Ryan Murphy, get out of town. No.
What if he became the new Winnipeg Jet? Sensation.
That's great. Then that'll give me a new person to dislike on the Jets. Perfect.
There you go.
I would, my dislike for Ryan would supersede my dislike for Chris Thorber.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I don't like Ryan Murphy.
How dare you disrespect the franchise leader in games played?
Yeah.
What about the only other team I can think of that maybe would want a goalie would be Phoenix or Arizona, I guess. Gotta put one in the Phoenix jar again. Fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Like, no one really is in the market for a goaltender right now.
No,
that's
and
probably
not with that contract.
Columbus.
With Bobrovsky?
Bob's back on the IR.
He's hurt.
First game back.
And he's had issues this season. And maybe a little healthy competition wouldn't hurt him too much.
Yeah.
So which one do you move? Do you move try to move Pav or do you try to move Hutch?
Well, obviously you're going to move... I'd move Pav before Hutch.
Because Hellebuck, he's not going back to the Moose.
You can't send him back to the Moose now. And Comrie's playing good for the Moose right now.
You just can't. But Hutch is an RFA at the end of the year.
Yeah. They have some decisions to make. Either they ride out this season and they send Hellebuck back down. It wouldn't... I know it sounds terrible. I don't think it would hurt his confidence that much. I know that he's played great and deserves to play in the NHL, but maybe he would benefit more from more time in the AHL as well.
I think it hurt the team if they sent them back to the AHL.
Okay.
Hellebuck?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
You can't?
He's too good.
You can't.
You just compared his numbers to Carey goddamn Price.
I know, but
Price.
He's the only reason.
Reigning Vezina champion.
He's the only reason in the last 3 months that they have stayed somewhat close to the playoff line.
Yeah, you're right.
If he has, they're done for the year if he hasn't played that well.
Good point.
But who's
alas,
that song? Back it up, back it in. That's what the Jets should do this year.
Jump
They
around.
are
Fucking pack her in, guys. You saw that. If you have a top 5 pick, be looking beautiful.
Get Kachuk 2.0 for the team.
Get Jesse. Pull your Yarvi. Patrick Laine. You don't even need Matthews. Settle, fine, number 4. And Craig Button projected the Jets to draft this gentleman because apparently they're going to finish 4th.
Last.
Mini Kachuk.
Yeah, I just said that.
Oh, I wasn't.
I just said, what about Mini Kachuk?
Yeah, Mini Kachuk too then.
I would love that.
Do it.
Maybe.
So then tank? So then
Yes.
send Hellebuck back to the AHL and have another year.
Then
there
yeah,
it
do
comes.
it. Fuck yeah.
The tank. Why not?
The Jets have to stop being loyal to their players, and I get that they are, but they're too afraid to make a move.
They gotta get rid of
They got to get into the fuck it all mode.
But you know what?
Fuck it all. Do it.
No, but you have 3 goalies. Instead of trying to keep them all just so you can say you have them, keep the guy that's playing well, cut one of the other 2 loose.
Yeah, they're just so worried about making a mistake at this point.
They still have Toby Enstrom because they won't admit they were wrong signing him to a $6 million contract.
They had to. They had no one else.
You know, I mean,
At the time, they had to do that.
I get it, but they're so they won't make moves.
They're afraid to make a mistake.
That's
their problem.
I mean, it took them 4 years to make a player-for-player trade. Granted, it was a big one, but still.
It took them 4 years to move Evander Kane. They knew right away they did not want him on the team.
Of course. And they knew right away he didn't want to be on the team.
Speaking of Evander Kane, how do you think the reaction will be in the MTS Center on Sunday towards Evander Kane and Zach Bogosian?
Very hostile towards Mr. Kane.
You think so?
Bogosian,
Bogo will get cheered.
he'll get cheered.
I
Kane,
think so.
Oh,
I don't think Kane's gonna get cheered. I think some people will applaud him because some people want to, but
every
I
person,
think a
every
lot of
person
people are
I've
not gonna
talked
be
to,
happy with it.
I know us, even us. Okay, we're like, you know what? Yeah, he was okay, but it's always the but. There's always a but with Evander Kane in the sentence,
yeah.
and it's the but that hinges. There's the way he left and the way things went down. People did not like that.
You have
Yeah.
to keep in mind, you can be appreciative of what he did for us. He's a decent hockey player, but he's an asshole.
And he hasn't stopped being an asshole.
He's a huge asshole. He was an asshole after he left. So why would you? No one in the I would be shocked. He's gonna get booed out of the building. There will be "Where's your tracksuit?" chants all game. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody throws a tracksuit on the ice at one point.
That'd be hilarious. It's bring your tracksuit night.
It's gonna be ruthless, and you know what? He brought the whole thing on himself.
He did.
And you know what? I hope Drew Stafford gets a hat trick, just to rub it in his face.
Or
Just to
Tyler
let him know.
Myers.
Is he gonna fight anyone? You think?
Or Blake Wheeler. I would love if Buff just sucker punched him and got suspended for 10 games.
Wow, you really don't like Kane that much?
I don't think Buff
You
would do
would
that.
wish a sucker punch on him?
But I don't think he'd do that. But you
I don't
bet your
think he
ass
would.
Buff is going to take a run at him.
Oh, for sure. I think it'll be an exciting
I
game
think
to
everyone's
watch.
going to take a run at him.
But here's the other thing.
Nick Ehlers is going to.
Dan just proved your point.
What's that?
You cannot say something good about Evander Kane without saying a but. So
Oh,
he's a good
asshole.
player, but he's an asshole.
Yeah,
How do you-
there's always a but with Evander Kane.
Describe
Always.
Evander Kane in one sentence.
Skilled, gritty forward. See, I was going to say, however, off-ice issues, which is the but.
Exactly.
But off-ice issues. God damn it.
Has a world of talent, but has never really proved his worth.
Yeah, there's always an asterisk in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
It'll be fun to watch.
yes,
Potentially.
I'm excited.
Do you move Pavlik or Hutchinson in a combination deal with Ladd to a team that's aspiring to make the playoffs next year? Or this year, sorry. Because I think we agree on this podcast that maybe Ladd's time here is done. Time for the Blake Wheeler era to begin.
Yeah,
As
I
captain?
think that's a good move. But who's he going? What playoff team right now needs a goalie? And okay, every playoff team needs a lad
Yeah.
because he can play on every line, per se. But not every pretty much every playoff team has their goalie already.
Do you-
But
do you think-
backup goalie? But
There's
if Pav's
also
gonna take
Jimmy.
that,
There's also Jimmy Howard out there.
Do
as
you
well.
think, and
Put that one out there.
this is a team that has expressed interest in him before, do you think the Pens would take a stab?
for
They need a
Fleury-
goalie.
with Fleury?
They need a
Fleury's
back.
hurt.
Fleury in the playoffs is never a sure thing.
Pittsburgh in the playoffs this year isn't a sure thing.
And true, but Fleury's also hurt right now.
Hey, it's Wednesday night rivalry night, and I just noticed on the poster or on the commercial they had Malkin facing off against Taves. They've taken Crosby off the face of Pittsburgh. I thought that was weird.
Which we'll talk about in a second.
No,
Well,
I'm just gonna say, yeah. I would like to see take a stab. But who are we gonna get from Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh's good at trades. That's the thing. You don't want it. That's
Kessel?
like going into a trade.
Kessel.
Yeah, don't you fucking.
And you
do that
bet
to
your
me.
ass.
Kessel.
Don't you do that to me, Greg.
We're getting Kessel.
You bet your ass.
If we get Kessel, that's an instant.
Lad
jersey.
will
You
not
bet
wait.
your ass.
Lad will not waive his no trade clause to go to a team that's not going to make the playoffs.
True.
Very true.
How about Pavlik? What does he
Pavlik?
have? What's his situation with contracts? Does he have a no
He's
trade?
got 2 more years left. I
But
think.
no trade or just open?
I couldn't-
Okay.
How about Florida?
Back.
Luongo
They
is
have
the
a backup.
reason
No, but
they're-
at least Lad to Florida. Because Florida
I've heard
could
for
make
a
the
pick.
playoffs.
I've
For
heard.
pick, third
Or
round.
pick or Bukestad.
Hey,
No, shut up again. What are you trying to crush my
They're-
dreams?
I
They're
want-
not going to do it.
What if they get Bukestad?
They won't.
they're talking with Bukestad, and they aren't even going to bridge him. They're just going to sign him long term. So
I know.
don't
We already
bet
did
that.
sign him long term in the summer.
Did they?
Yeah.
Or, sorry, maybe it was Barkov. I'm thinking.
Yeah, it's
of.
Barkov.
What about Huberto?
There's been ties of Lad and
Get the hell
Bufflin
outta
to
here.
Florida because of their GM
Yep.
from Chicago. So don't be
That could
surprised if that's because Florida right now they're a Stanley Cup contender where they are.
They're definitely a good team right now.
I mean,
and add an all-star like Buff on their team.
In Florida, they have the 40-man, 18-year-old.
It's so-
or 19-year-old. So,
there's so many moving parts because like I think Lad's the one you have to get rid of because I just don't think he's worth the money he's asking for. He's a valuable player, but I don't think he's worth the money he's asking for. But on the flip side, you could get so much more for Dustin Bufflin. But on the flip side, your team's going to be a lot worse without
and
Dustin
you're playing
Bufflin.
Dustin Bufflin.
It's going to be a lot worse without Dustin Bufflin than it is without Andrew Ladd, in my opinion.
Yeah,
You're
I
going to
think we
notice
can
it
all
more.
agree on
So
that
I mean,
now.
there's so many, and it doesn't sound like if Travis Hamonic comes to Winnipeg, it's not going to happen until the end of the year now because Johnny Boychuk's out for 6 weeks at least.
Ooh.
So they're thinking Hamonic will probably be around for at least the end of the year now, just to try and get them in the playoffs. So
Yeah.
if you're thinking about that might not even happen anytime soon. Not that it's guaranteed he'd come to Winnipeg, but I mean that's where he wants to end up. So it's
Think we're at a standstill.
interesting.
Yeah, I think we are. It's tough. It's tough to know the direction of this team right now. It'll all unfold before us because we can only speculate. We can't actually confirm or deny anything. All we can do is speculate. But there's one thing we can't speculate about,
Oh, wait.
and that's
Oh, go.
all-star rosters.
Damn it, Greg. I was going to talk about the Moose for 2 seconds. I'm going to talk about the Moose
After
real quick.
no, that was the best transition I've ever
Oh,
done.
I got to ruin it. Nick Patan got scratched for yesterday's game. He slept in. And
Ooh.
I mentioned this as well. Damn it. I had something. Because I was at the Moose game. And just weird fact, they're 6th overall in attendance. They average 7,476 fans a game. Isn't that awesome?
I was at the New Year's Eve
I'm
game.
sorry I had to interrupt for that.
Hey, I was at the Moose game
Fuck you.
on New Year's Eve. There was almost 15,000 people there
Yeah, that's awesome.
for an
Good.
AHL game.
I'm glad.
So they still support the team.
Yeah, everyone's just hockey crazy in
Oh.
Winnipeg right now.
And Brendan Lemieux got named Player of the Month in the OHL. He had 9 goals, or 12 goals, 6
He's going to be a
assists.
staple on this team
I
next year.
cannot wait until he's on the roster.
Me too.
All right.
I think they don't even want him to play in the AHL next year. I think they want him to make the jump to the NHL.
Damn near made the Jets this year.
I know.
He damn near helped LePon make the team this year. You bet your ass. he don't.
JC LePont.
Yeah.
Okay. All-Star game. Let's talk about the biggest snub.
Yeah, fucking Shane Gostisbehere.
Yeah,
I know. That's
I know.
a bag
Son
of
of a-
shit.
No, I was
What a
actually
prick.
going somewhere else with
Chris
this.
Scorburn, come on.
Neither of those guys.
I know.
I was going somewhere else. Phil the fucking Thrill Kessel
Oh,
was not mentioned to the team.
Yeah, neither
Neither
was
was
Crosby.
neither was Tyler Bozak.
Tyler
Shame.
Bozeman.
Goddamn shame.
I'm just totally kidding. Okay, the 3 biggest snubs I think we can agree on are John Klimberg, Sidney Crosby, and Blake Wheeler. Do you have the rosters? Anybody have the rosters?
I'm
Because
trying
I
to
have
pull it
not
up right
seen
now.
them.
I will pull it up.
Okay. All I know is those 3 snubs are shocking. At least Crosby because he was
Okay,
the face of the NHL.
I'm going to name all of them.
That's sorry
Go.
to interrupt you. Not having Sidney Crosby in the All-Star game is like not having Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or one of those guys in the Pro Bowl. Like that's the face of the league. That's like having no Bryce Harper in the MLB playoffs.
That's a clown question, bro. That's a fucking clown question. Okay, good. I was like, please catch my references. I sound like an asshole. What division do you want me to start in?
Okay, let's start in the Atlantic.
In the Atlantic, Patrice Bergeron, Captain Yarmer Yager, Leo Corporal Komarov,
Woo.
Dylan Larkin,
Not
Ryan
shocking.
O'Reilly, Steven Stamkos, Aaron Ekblad, Eric Carlson, PK Subban, Ben Bishop, Roberto Luongo. So the team representing in that obviously is Florida. They have 3 guys in there. They have Ekblad,
Yeah.
Yager, and Luongo. Pretty much no
Strong team.
surprises in that division, to be honest.
No.
Off the top of my head.
Because of the mandatory 1 player per team, that's why Komarov's there over a guy like
JVR, maybe?
no, maybe JVR, but Komarov's been the best player on the Leafs all year.
Oh, over like a Krejci or someone like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
or
of
like
course.
somebody else on the Lightning.
Yeah.
It's the only reason.
Okay, Metropolitan. Nick Backstrom. Claude Giroux.
Did Stamkos make it? Sorry,
Yeah, I did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I zoned out. I'm sorry.
Okay, so Backstrom, Giroux, Malkin, Ovi, Brandon Saad, John Tavares, the fucking all-star himself, Justin Falk, Chris
You
Letang,
shut your mouth with those 12 power play goals.
Ryan McDonough, Braden Holtby, Corey Schneider.
That's a pretty good team.
That's a solid team. That's
That's
a quick.
pretty good.
That's a quick puck-moving team.
That's a pretty good
And I can see why Crosby isn't on that team. Not having a great year, and that team's really good.
Yeah, and Malkin and Letang
Yeah.
over Ghost
Yeah.
Bear. Unfucking believable. Unfucking believable.
At least Giroux's there. Be
Yeah.
happy
Oh
Giroux's
well,
there.
everyone gets one. Obviously. I'm glad.
There's no Voracek this year.
Be
That's
happy
Yeah,
they
no
picked the
wonder
right
why.
one. Be happy they picked the right one.
Yeah. Anyone's a right Umberger. I don't give a shit. All right. Pacific. Johnny Gaudreau. Taylor Hall. Joe Pavelski. Corey Perry. Captain John Scott. Daniel Sedin. Brent Burns. Drew Doughty. Mark Giordano. John Gibson. Jonathan Quick.
What a
Not-
fucking joke that is. Like, I'm sorry. I understand fan voting's great.
Fuck you.
But
Did you not vote? I voted every day. Like, legit, every day I voted
Why?
for John Scott.
Why?
Because it's awesome. They make this screwed up system. We abuse it. That's
a
what
good point.
we do.
That's
It's
what
the
I'm saying,
internet.
is
we
it's
did
no-
it. Don't put it on the internet and expect happy things to happen, okay?
Exactly.
Fuck you.
No, very true. And
I
that's
am
why
the problem.
we can't put in the hands of the fans because they do things like this.
It's awesome. Yeah.
I know, it's
You know
pretty
what,
fun.
John Scott? They should have made the jerseys fucking John Scott on his face. That's I would buy it. Are you kidding me? I guarantee John Scott's a top-selling All-Star jersey.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
I'll buy one. Of course. If I come across it on the internet, it's gonna be like, or say if you're like walking on the streets of Mexico 10 years from now, tumbleweeds, windy day, you're like, oh, beautiful family, look at this. And you just turn and see a John Scott jersey gusting in the wind. I'm buying it even if it's a goalie cut. That's
You know
my
what?
jersey.
You laugh now because it's funny. If he scores a goal,
The place
people are
will
gonna lose
erupt.
their shit.
I'll lose my shit. Holy shit, John Scott, baby, dude. And look at think of the line he could be on. Put John Scott with Gaudreau and Doughty. He's getting a fucking goal. They're
Or-
gonna shoot it at. They're gonna go stand in front of that.
you could put Gaudreau and Doughty standing on each other's shoulders, and they wouldn't be as tall as that fucking ogre.
Hey, that's a shootout move. John Scott's gonna pick up Gaudreau and use him as a marionette, and Johnny Gaudreau will just pretend to skate and shoot him in.
That'd be very fun.
John Scott will just skate up to the goalie, do like the fake scare. The goalie will jump out of the way and just.
Well, that's like Yammer Yager was saying. He was
His tweet was priceless.
He tweeted something along the lines of, I thought 3-on-3 was going to kill me. It's actually 6'8", 240 John Scott's going to kill me. He's
It's
just
funny because like he is very adamant that he did not want to go to the All-Star game this year.
Oh, Yager. And
Yeah.
then
And he's
John
like-
Scott's like, yeah, I'll go. I
He's
guess.
like, the fans must want me to die because they voted for me. I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
I'd rather be in, like, on the beaches somewhere.
Who's the Metropolitan captain? Is it Ovi?
Metropolitan
Yes.
captain is
Okay,
Ovi, yeah.
perfect.
And then the other captains, Yager, John Scott, and then Central Division. Jamie Benn, Matt Duchene, Patrick Kane, captain, Patrick Kane, Tyler Seguin, Vladimir Tarasenko, Jonathan Toews, Dustin Byfuglien, Roman Josi, Shea Weber, Devin Dubnyk, Pekka Rinne. There's really only like one quasi-weak spot on this team, and it's Devin Dubnyk. And that's not a weak spot.
And you know what
That
the,
team is stupid.
you know what the sad
That
thing
team
They're
is?
gonna
better
win.
win.
They're gonna win.
Do you know what the sad thing is? That team could be better.
They could...
They could
okay,
have Blake Wheeler on it.
So
Blake
I
Wheeler,
know you're
they could
quite a
have
big fan of this guy, but this is what I thought
Zach
right off the top.
Parise.
I would swap out Matt Duchene for Wheeler, and I would swap out Buff for Barry.
Yeah.
Because, well, fucking Buff doesn't like 3-on-3. Why
Yeah.
would you send him?
But he's not having like he's probably deserving to be an All-Star, but I don't think he's
Not that great of a year.
I didn't
not
know
that
Wheeler had a point a game this year. I saw it and I'm
I'm
like,
gonna read you
damn,
stats.
10 goals,
I'm gonna read you
12,
stats
30 assists.
because I think arguably
Damn girl.
Yeah.
the biggest snub is Blake Wheeler, not Sidney Crosby, because of the season he's having.
Yeah.
Crosby's having a pretty weak year.
Is he the only top 10 scorer not in the All-Star game?
Go to the top 10 scores and let us know.
Okay, well, I'm going to read you just a couple stats. He has 40 points in 40 games.
Yeah, point a game.
Since 2012-13, he's the 12th highest scoring player in the NHL. He's only 64 points behind Sidney Crosby. He's the most underrated player in the whole league, for sure.
Brian Little.
Hands down.
Brian Little's got to be up there.
He's up there.
But
those two
Wheeler's
are
having a
very
hell of a
Wheeler
year.
is underrated. Like,
And no one's talking about Blake Wheeler.
On,
That's the other
on
thing.
any team, he's a star.
Yeah.
And he just, for
No one
whatever
talks
reason... Okay, is there anyone in top 10 that's not on...
Is he in the top 10 in scoring?
He's
seventh.
Oh, he's 7 now.
He's
Okay.
7th with 40 points.
Is there anybody else? Can you not cover your face, please?
Sorry. He's 2 points away from being 4th.
Okay,
in scoring.
but is there anybody in
But
the top 10 that's not...
Did Daniel Sedin make it?
Maybe not.
No, he's there.
Okay.
Then yeah, he's the only one.
That's a bag of shit, NHL.
Patrick Kane, Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, Eric Carlson, Vladimir Tarasenko, Taylor Hall,
You know what? I figured it out.
Wheeler, Gaudreau, Pavelski, Sedin.
The,
Fuck.
the NHL,
Ah!
the NHL doesn't like fruits. They don't like fruits. They did not
Fruits?
want any berry in that All-Star game.
Ha! Ha!
So I couldn't react because my mouth was full of water, and then I got up and pretended to fold the chair because in the new year, new me, Dan,
Removed our chairs.
he removed
We're
our
now-
wooden, beautiful
Goddamn
dinner
right
chairs
it.
for metal folding chairs.
Yeah, so this is why we're
Goddamn right.
angrier today. So, Dan, please go on your rant about Blake Wheeler not
Well,
making
no,
the All-Star game.
I-
No, go on a rant,
it's-
please. I want to hear it.
Wait, hold on. I
don't
want to
really
see
have
if
a rant left. It just the consensus when you read social media, he's the biggest snub this year. I think.
I don't think there's anyone else that's as big as he is.
Elliot Friedman even said, he said it's weird not seeing Sidney Crosby in the All-Star game, but Blake Wheeler should have been there.
Well,
That's what he
the
said.
thing with Crosby, he's having an off year for Crosby, but it's Crosby or Taves. One or the other have to get in, or Ovi. 2 out of the 3 have to be there for the face of the NHL. But
I get
that's
it,
that's bullshit in terms of if you're taking the best players, there's an easy option. Like, I mean, obviously they debated about it, but why not leave Duchesne for Barry? Like, Barry would, he's a smaller defenseman who's an offensive defenseman. He's a guy you would, not that you don't want to see Buff at the All-Star game, but I think I'd rather see a guy as Barry, I'd rather lose Buff to gain Wheeler than have Duchesne there to lose Wheeler.
I mean, okay, no.
You go.
I wanted you to go, but I'll go. I think a guy like Bufflin isn't necessarily the person you wanted in an All-Star game because what's Bufflin known for? A really hard slap shot. No one's going to get in front of that, and he could injure someone. You don't want to see injuries at the All-Star game. What else is he known for? Lots of hits. You don't throw hits on 3-on-3 hockey. So why is he there? Barry's way more an offensive player.
Let's
Way
name-
more of an offensive
Well,
player.
look at any defenseman there. No, I don't fear any of the other defensemen.
Well,
Like,
Shea Weber's there.
Yeah, but Shea Weber understands it's an all-star.
Yeah.
Not that Buff doesn't.
Yeah.
But, like, Shea Weber...
Buff can rush, but...
Shea Weber can jokingly bump you.
Yeah.
Buff, I don't think he knows his fucking that he's that big.
However,
He knows he'll have fun with it. He'll have a great time. He's there last year.
Bufflin
I
is
mean-
more of a personality than Blake Wheeler, and that might be why.
It's true. It's to me.
Yeah, definitely.
To me, it's a crock that Wheeler's not in the game. And he, you know what? I could build Jay Casey. He belongs there over Matt Duchene. I could build Jay Casey. He belongs there over Jonathan Taves.
I think he belongs there over Tarasenko.
I'd say those
I don't know
two.
about Tarasenko.
They're a point apart right now. You could flip a coin, but I mean, Tarasenko's more of a sniper, so that looks better in the eyes of.
But Wheeler's
Yeah.
got
I mean,
the wheels.
he's consistently almost a point a game player. He is a point a game player now. He's on the verge of where when people refer to him, they're like when sportscasters talk about the Jets, they don't say like they're afraid he's an elite player now. They're saying he's a superstar, like he's become that player. That's what media are saying about him, and it sucks that he doesn't get the recognition. And he's not the kind of guy that cares. Like he even said, whatever. I'll spend it with my family. It's a popularity contest, which is what it is. And the All-Star game has lost all credibility. First, going to 3-on-3. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be entertaining to watch. But it has no credibility when one of your captains wouldn't even make the All-Star game in the AHL. He has 11 points in 8 career hockey seasons.
They built that system and we abused it.
Oh, of course. But it's
Fuck
just...
yeah.
Well, that's how you got
There's
Zemgus
no
Girgensons last
credibility.
year.
At least he
was decent.
He could hold up.
That's like voting for Fraser
What is
McLaren
Scott
or
gonna
Paul
do?
Miller.
I voted for him, but like seriously, in the skills comp, the fuck is he gonna do?
They introduced this
Nothing.
they introduced this new thing, and it's going to be Dustin Byfuglien, John Scott,
Shea Webb.
no, Alex Ovechkin, and I'm trying to think, Roberto Luongo.
And they're gonna wear sock and boppers and hit each other.
It's gonna be boxing. They're gonna put on sumo suits with skates on and just fight each other.
Well, yeah, I mean seriously. Now it is a joke if you do that.
But
Not
that's
that it is
essentially
already.
But yeah, it's a joke. There's no credibility left in the All-Star game at all. Not that there ever really was, and it's been terrible to watch for years.
There hasn't
year
been
might
a
actually
good
be
All-Star
exciting.
game since
It'll
the Owen
be
Nolan
exciting.
one. I can't remember where he pointed.
Back when it was North America versus the world. Those were some of the
It'll
fun
be
ones.
exciting. Maybe I don't think I'm biased because I'm a Jets fan and I like Blake Wheeler, but he deserves to be.
You're not being biased when
There's-
pretty much every other credible sports writer in North America was like, what the fuck?
You're also not being biased when the stats speak the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
That he deserves to be there.
There's no reason he shouldn't be there.
Other than people hate him in the NHL.
Blake Wheeler?
They hate him. It's my conspiracy
It's
theory.
just, I don't think Winnipeg doesn't get the coverage that in the States. It gets nothing. And when people think Winnipeg, they think Dustin Byfuglien because
No, and it's funny, too.
He's the most record for for people that don't know a goddamn thing about Winnipeg. He's the guy that everyone knows.
Hey, I just thought of something in my head. Maybe that's why Winnipeg's drafting a bunch of Americans, so they can start getting recognized in the States, because all these parents will be watching the games in the States now because guys like Jack Roslovic, Jacob Trouba,
That's a
Kyle Connor.
stretch. I get it.
It's a stretch,
They
but
draft the best available players, but it just so happens at that
They were
draft
all
position,
American.
they're all American. Yeah,
and awesome
and it will
players.
help when Kachuk's there as well.
I would
Mini Tkachuk.
love Mini Tkachuk. Even DeBrincat would be great.
Yeah, or Patrick Laine.
I have to say, though, of all the All-Star players, not the biggest surprise, but the person I'm happiest to get the recognition that I think he deserves is Dylan Larkin.
Yep.
I was very happy to see him nominated to the team because I think he's done incredible things this year. I also think with a full season, we might not even be talking about Byfuglien or Wheeler being on the team. I think Connor Hellebuyck would be on this team over Dubnyk if his little sample size extrapolated to a full season and these stats were a little bit.
Well, I'll take a year
More
off of
games.
Hellebuyck if we're going to get to see him at like the World Cup. We're going to
Yeah.
get to see him at All-Star games. We're going to get to
Well,
see
we
him
s-
at the Olympics.
we saw
He's
him
the
last year
new
in the-
Carey Price.
We saw him last year at the World Hockey Championships, and he was a hell of a great goalie
Was
for
he?
the Americans.
Was he hell of a good goalie?
He was a hell of a good goalie.
Okay.
I didn't actually mean to say that.
Okay. So
I didn't think about
no,
that.
yeah,
until
he
you-
was real good.
Yeah.
He is a great goalie.
And he
Even
might
dating
actually
back
be
to college. So
he might be America's new goalie that they'll go with for. It
Who
used to be
is
Ryan
their goalie?
It used to be Ryan Miller. They also have Corey Schneider.
Quick.
And they have Quick.
Well, positionally sound, Connor Hellebuyck knows what that is. Jonathan Quick. Fuck. I'm not a goalie
And they had
expert.
Tim Thomas at one point. too.
Actually, he'll definitely write about him eventually. But when Bryan Sveinson writes his article, I've been tweeting it anyways. I hope I'm going to text him and ask him to break down quick. 'Cause he'll do it anyways eventually. But he's real good at breaking down goalies and making them make sense to people like me. Where I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is, and then
Yeah.
he breaks it down to make sense.
That's
and he
good.
has videos. It's nice. It's like a Pictionary. I like those. Anyways, Greg, you heard some news right before we got on the podcast today. I broke the news to you because
I really wish you hadn't told him.
fuck, I thought he knew.
I did not
So
know.
the breaking news. Like,
So I went to Cameron, and because he mentioned that, Seth Jones didn't make the All-Star game. I was like, understandable. But did you also hear that Nashville's in play to either get Jonathan Drouin or they're looking at Ryan Johansson? And then what did Cam say to me?
well, I said, "Are you serious? You don't know?" And he's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Seth Jones got traded straight up for Ryan Johansson 2 hours before we started the podcast."
Now, question. Is this because of John Tortorella? Because there were
Ryan
issues-
Johansson said it was not because of John Tortorella, which means it was John Tortorella.
110%.
Yeah. Well, hey,
Because-
they just signed Tortorella to an extension, or they signed him, period. So they signed him to a contract. They're not going to get rid of a coach they just signed.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of
have-
the player on a movable
And
contract.
the player that also-
go back 2 summers ago. Remember how hard it was for them to sign this kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a lot of issues with him. And then they picked up Brandon Saad in the summertime, which also helped them a bit here.
But didn't seem to pan out very much. Brandon Saad seems...
He's an all-star.
He's got 16
Well, yeah,
goals.
everyone gets a representative. I'm not... You know what?
He's on pace for 30
number
goals.
one, if the best players go, Giroux is not at this All-Star game. No one on Philly deserves to be at this All-Star game.
I don't think anybody on Toronto deserves to be there either.
And what happens when 2 players are dropped out? Well, Wheeler's there, for sure. Yeah. I don't know why he isn't.
Do you know what the problem with this year is, though? If someone declines an invite, you can't just take the next best player. You have to take divisionally.
Oh, shit.
So the only way Wheeler's getting in is if one of those 5 forwards drops. And
one of those 5 forwards can't.
But I hope they don't get hurt.
Yeah, that would suck.
But they're not going to decline because Bettman will call them.
It just puts a wrinkle in because you have to pick divisionally, right?
That's a shit.
But here's the other thing. So this trade happened, and I think it's good for both teams. It gives Nashville a much-needed help offensively. Now they can have, Philip Forsberg, Ryan Johansson, and James Neal as a line.
Yeah. That's a legitimate number one line.
Good number one line.
Well, that's a solid number one.
And
they're struggling this year offensively, too.
And Roman Josi has emerged as the next guy to play with Shea Weber when they thought Seth Jones would be that guy.
And, go ahead. Sorry.
Now, with Seth Jones going to Columbus, I think Seth Jones is going to be a player that I think they wanted Ryan Murray to be. So.
And what I like about this move on both sides, apart from it 1-for-1, hell yeah. Don't dick around. Things. Yeah, don't make it complicated. What I commend Nashville for is that, well, at least in my eyes, they recognize that, okay, we have Roman Josi, we have Weber.
And they have Matthias Ekholm.
Matthias Ekholm and Ryan Ellis, too.
Yeah.
This guy is going to be something more, probably. You know what? He deserves better. In my eyes, this is what happened. He deserves better, and we have a need, we have a want, or we have what people want, and we have a need to fill. Let's see what we get. And they went to Columbus, asked around, and obviously they said, hey, we have something you want, you have something we want, let's just do it. And that's brass tacks. It was way more complicated than that. But to me, they just said, you know what? 1-for-1, straight up. 4th overall in 2010, Johansson. 4th overall in 2013, Seth Jones.
Was it also maybe some foresight knowing that maybe Nashville wouldn't be able to afford Seth Jones in the future, and they knew what Johansson was worth? So, okay, we have this guy on a contract versus having to give Seth Jones a contract because his is up at the end of the year this year.
Johansson.
No, Jones.
Oh, Jones. That
had to have been something that played into that.
They probably could have bridged him, though, because, he's kind of in the Jacob Trouba boat right now. He hasn't really shown that he's worth a ton of money, but...
Down the road, though, that's tough, because then you got to pay Weber, you got to pay Josi, Ekholm, numerous amounts of guys.
I think so. I think he was the odd guy out. They didn't need him. He's a great player to have, but they didn't need him.
You know, it's the same with Ryan Suter. They didn't need to have Ryan Suter, so they let him go. Unfortunately, they didn't trade him. But
what message does this send to Winnipeg, though? Because Nashville is the team they're trying to catch. They're 5 points back. They play them twice in the next 2 weeks at home. They could potentially, if the standings stay the same, they could be 1 point back of them in a week and a half.
The thing with Nashville...
So, what does this get the Jets? Does this get Chevy being like, well, I need to make up my mind? Do I need to do something? Or,
he needs to make a move to make the bottom 6 better. That Lee Stepniak, the Yuri Tolusti moves from last year really did help. He needs to do something like that this year.
When the top line's on. When Nick Ehlers' line is on. Nick Ehlers' line too, I would say.
Oh, and...
You don't know. Once they're off the ice, they're a different team. They're not. They are not
well, and you team. You think, right now, the top line is Stafford, Little, Wheeler. Second line is Scheifele, Ehlers, Perreault. Then you've got Ladd playing with Lowry and Burmy, who...
Now with that, again, it circles back. Trade Ladd.
Yeah,
I don't think Lowry and Burmy are a strong third line.
Well, no.
I think Lowry's played better since coming back.
Lowry's played better. Burmy hasn't looked great. All the talent in the world does absolutely nothing. I would package him up if you can.
Even in the West as well, another trade happened. Philadelphia traded Vincent Lecavalier and Luke Shen to LA for a 3rd-round pick and Jordan Wheel. Jordan Wheel is their brink guy. He's led their AHL team in scoring the last 2 years. He's AHL MVP. And part of the deal was Philadelphia held on 50% of the contract of the Lecavalier and Shen. Shen's contract is up at the end of the year. Lecavalier, a part of the deal, Kings got him to agree to it, was you have to retire at the end of the... Because he was talking about retiring, they said, no, we're only accepting this deal if you retire at the end of the year. So therefore, his contract, poof, gone. So his contract will be null and void once he retires, and which will clear up room for them to be able to re-sign Kopitar, possibly Lucic. And speaking of the Kings, Mike Richards signed a 1-year, $1 million contract with the Washington Capitals.
Whoa! I was going to ask you if you...
Yeah.
It hasn't gone through. It's pending.
Pending a physical and all that.
Well, NHL approval.
I think.
I showed up at Cam's work today after I was done school, and we were just talking. And actually, no, it was when he phoned me today, and I was going to ask him, because he mentioned how LA gets these guys, right? And then I thought back to the Jeff Carter, the Mike Richards situation, and I thought, I wonder if Mike Richards is on any team. So great to hear that Washington's nabbed him up, and Washington's going to be so good.
Well, who's the owner of Washington? Ted Leonsis?
Yeah.
Yeah, he went to Justin Williams and said, hey, how is he, like, apart from obviously the off-ice stuff? And he said, you know what? He deserves a chance. And that's what, sometimes go to the players.
Yeah.
That will obviously go to the players. But, like, he said, not only does he deserve a chance, he's determined. He's been working out and whatnot, Kenora at home with the trainer and all that. As Mike Richards as a fourth-line center, I'd still take
for
that.
$1 million.
Hell yeah!
And you know he's going to play well in the
There's
playoffs.
more than a few teams that were interested. Washington just beat them to it.
You know
and
that,
I think the other thing too
and
is,
you know he's a playoff performer because every time the Kings in the playoffs, no matter how quiet a year he has.
And who are the top two favorites? Washington and Dallas. I bet Dallas is probably going to make another little tinker move.
I see them
how
making a
interesting
tinker
would
move.
it be if it was an LA Washington Stanley Cup final?
That'd be pretty cool redemption for Richards and cool closing out for
Let's
Williams.
face it, the Kings have that division locked up. No one's catching them. They're 20 points ahead of everybody. I mean, the Jets.
Hey, fuck you guys!
The Jets would be in second place.
Losers.
The Jets would be in second place in that division.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, they're thinking Stanley Cup again this year. So.
Hey, it would just make sense, right? Because there's only 2 teams that are allowed to win the Stanley Cup in the NHL.
That's unbelievable.
It's true.
Thanks, Greg.
Hey, did you know that, every year the Kings win a cup, then the Giants win the World Series?
The Giants win World Series every even year. I don't know what you're talking about. And also, I'm fucking with you. Yes, I know. Also, whenever Taylor Swift releases a song and it goes straight to number 1, Giants also win World Series. So T-Swift, fucking break up with whatever you're going with. Right about that Calvin Harris, like Yibbity Yay song. I showed a Jack.
You don't have to worry about her breaking up with him because he'll dump her stupid ass.
No, I think.
Whoa, hey!
Well,
yeah.
How did
he will, because she'll see me and she'll
now
start.
we got bad blood, Dan.
I don't care. Bring it.
Fuck.
What do you
Dan,
think?
Paul Dross, that's a song I heard.
Clearly, Dan has not had his wildest dreams fulfilled. Should he just shake it off?
Shake it off. Fuck, I wish I knew more.
Cameron, are we out of the woods yet?
Oh my, how many T-Swift songs do you know?
Begin again. Let's do it.
You're such a shit.
Well,
Hey guys, at least we're older than 22. Cameron, I always knew you were trouble.
Enough! I want to play the game, but I don't know any lyrics. I don't know any of them.
I wish I had a goat.
Is that a song?
No.
The goat video.
From I Knew You Were Trouble. When you have to watch it. It's on
Goddamn,
YouTube.
I'm dropping the ball now.
Yeah, you are.
Okay,
we gotta wrap things up.
who's in the? God no! Who's in the election?
I'll pull it up.
Pull it up. Pull it up. Pull it up.
Oh, not that it matters to anyone else. Travis Konechny got traded to the Sarnia Sting from the Ottawa 67.
Oh, and last but not least, before we get to the election, Joe McGinley, 600 career goals.
Sure did. Sure done tootin'. Oh, the Leafs made a trade too. They acquired Jeremy Morin.
Jeremy Morin
Richard
for
Panik.
Richard Panik.
That's the second time Morin's been acquired and traded from the Hawks. I'm so sorry, Jeremy. I have to do this again.
Kyle Dubas did say, though, that he sees something and some untapped potential in Jeremy Morin, so hopefully he pans out.
Yeah. Well. All right, Dan, let me have it.
Okay, so starting with the 5th last team, San Jose Sharks.
Wow. Okay.
Then Toronto.
Yeah.
Ed Money, Buffalo, and Columbus is still dead last.
Wasn't Edmonton close to a playoff spot at some point?
They were in the playoff spots like 3 podcasts
The
ago.
Pacific
Because I
Division.
said it on the podcast.
Okay.
Here's the thing. 3 teams in the Pacific Division are in the bottom 5 in the entire league. Sorry, in the bottom 6.
Okay.
Edmonton, San Jose, Vancouver. They are 1 point. They are 3 points out of second in their division.
And what's the rule on
That's
how many
brutal.
teams per division have to make playoffs?
3. Have to.
What?
That's so
The
dumb.
only
That's so
team,
dumb.
the only team in the Pacific that's higher than 20th in the league is LA,
And they're first in their division.
and they're
What are they in the league?
4th.
They're doing well.
Okay,
They're a
okay.
good team.
Calgary is 20th. Anaheim is 22nd. Vancouver is 25th. San Jose is 26th.
And where is Winnipeg?
Winnipeg is 21st. They are tied with Calgary. They'd be tied for third in the Pacific Division right now. They are tied for third in the Pacific Division right now.
Oh my God.
Okay.
They would have a playoff game.
All right, we got to get off this.
But, alas.
So, last week you guys gave me gifts, so it's time for
shit! I
me.
forgot
Time
about
for
to
that.
the
give you
ultimate
guys gifts.
disappointment. Here we
Here
go.
we go.
It's no disappointment. I don't have the gift here, or the gifts here, because I would have to physically obtain them, which means that is impossible at this point, at this juncture, because what I'm doing is I'm taking you guys to a Moose game.
Sweet.
The problem is I need to find a day that works for both you guys.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure we have to talk about that off the podcast.
So that's all I'm saying.
Awesome. I like it.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Do we get
Because-
are you gonna buy me a Patan Peter?
No, you get Dick All.
No, I want a Patan Peter, not a Dick All. I want a Patan Peter.
What is a
You
Patan
want-
Peter?
It's
You
like
want
it's like
Patan's
a
Peter?
It's like a Wheeler's Wang.
Are these hot
jet,
dogs?
A jet dog.
Oh. You had some moose droppings on there?
Christ.
Okay, but yeah, so that's your Christmas present.
Fuck yeah.
I couldn't physically get them
That's
because
awesome. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. So
right.
let me know. You guys can talk.
There's a
and then
camera
we'll make it
lady
work.
at the Moose game.
She's hot?
Oh, she's good.
Shout out to her.
Shout out one
What
guy.
time?
I was
You
like-
want to be our camera lady?
I was sitting in section 107, so she's right in the corner.
Okay.
So
Did we get email?
no
nothing.
email, no
Comments.
comments. Nope, I checked them.
All right.
Come on, guys. Comment. Email us.
We're leaving Nick hanging. He wants to be on the show, and we just...
Oh shit!
You gotta call
I
him.
dropped the ball. I was supposed to set up. I'll do that next
So,
week. My
yeah.
bad, guys. All
Episode
right,
75. We should totally have him on for episode 75.
the 75th anniversary.
Yeah.
Of what?
Or no, our 75th show.
I know.
75th
Sweet.
What's
show.
the 75th anniversary of what?
The show.
An anniversary is every year.
Every year.
No, you can be whatever you want it to be.
Hey,
You don't know,
apparently teenagers have like 3-day anniversaries.
Totally.
What?
It's a thing. I work at a community center. I hear what 12-year-olds talk about all the time.
Really?
Yeah, people celebrate 3-day anniversaries now. That's the thing. Because that's a milestone in teenager
Wait,
relationships.
3-day anniversaries?
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Those
I
relationships
never
are...
want a relationship ever. Ever.
Okay, guys, from all of us at Last Minute In, thank you for listening to episode 74. Check us out on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. We're not on Facebook. And
We
iTunes.